Welcome back. I am John P. Today we are going to be talking about the best 5 watches that you can go anywhere and do anything with under $3,000 in the year 2022. Yes, that is a mouthful, but basically these are watches that are versatile. You can buy them today, whether pre-owned or at retail under $3,000 US. Before we do that, guys, please do not forget to check out delraywatch.com where we buy, sell, and trade watches, as well as my Instagram, The Real John P. So today we're just going to jump right into it. The first watch in the year 2022, you can buy right now, and there's only 2 of them out there under $3,000. I did the work for you. This is going to be a Grand Seiko, and this is going to be a Grand Seiko SBGR269. Now, Grand Seiko has come a long way in terms of branding, quality, the finished product, as well as captivating the hearts and minds of watch collectors. I think we all know that by now, right? But for those of you that are unfamiliar, Grand Seiko has come a long way in terms of pricing as well. The prices have gone up pre-owned and in the secondhand market compared to the retail prices. They hold a lot tighter to the retail prices. Now, it can be difficult to get a Grand Seiko under $2,000 that is mechanical. They have the 9F, the quartz battery powered, essentially, watches that exist out there. Yes, they can be had at under $3,000, many of them, but mechanical, automatic or otherwise, can be difficult under $3,000 currently. But this one, the SBGR269, there's a couple of them out there in the world. And what makes it fit this criteria is that it's simple, it's basic, it's proven. It also does have some branding attached to it, and the quality is there, the attention to detail. So you're really not losing anything in terms of it being a luxury product. It still does cost a amount of money that is not really disposable, I guess, for most people. But at the same time, you get the luxury experience of a luxury watch, and it's also a rugged, durable watch that you don't have to worry about it breaking, for example, because it doesn't have many complications or anything that makes it too intricate, really, besides the base mechanics. And that's going to be a theme, by the way, that's going to follow us in the rest of the watches on the list. Now, next we have a watch from Zin. Zin collectors, leave in the comments below. I want to see you rally. But the Zin 556 is truly a great watch, especially at the price point. Now, the Zin 556 is going to be much smaller, I don't want to say diminutive, but a little bit more slimmer on the wrist and also more wearable for more types of wrists than many watches made by Zin. Zin makes rugged, durable watches. I say it all the time, but also simple watches, right? They're not putting in generally too many complications. They have a world time and some other chronographs with additional features and complications. They have a water resistance check with a certain type of indicator on the case, and there's other features that Zin does have for those that are interested in complications or features or nuances, I guess you'd call them, in a good way. But the Zin 556 is a basic, simple watch that can be had from $900 for an older one pre-owned on a strap, all the way up to $1,500, which is the retail price. And recently they released a multicolor version that is kind of in line with the Omega Aquaterra, but really the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, the turquoise, the orange, the green, I think there's a red. And so that watch is selling over retail price, but go figure, it's kind of a hot commodity. Maybe in time those will go down, but this is a watch, has a proven movement. Most of them have a Sellita, same Sellita, base Sellita movement that's going to be in so many other watches at several times the price. So the Zin 556, I love this choice and well under the $3,000 limit. Now next, we're going to talk about an Omega watch. Omega has been doing some great things, some very great things in watches. They've really delivered what watch collectors want, although there are some voices out there that seem to dislike that for some reason, right? I recently did a video where I show my watch, by the way, that I'm wearing currently, my Omega Seamaster Aquaterra 38.5 millimeter Good Planet in titanium. Very cool watch that I'm starting to wear as my everyday wear. Now, I just happen to really love and enjoy this watch, and I got a great deal on it. Go figure, delraywatch.com. But Omega has been doing some really amazing things, and they have been they've been getting noticed by a lot of collectors, mostly for the good, some not so much, but that goes with everything, right? But the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra, I really love and enjoy. A lot of attention is put into the movements, and also finishing the movements and putting display case backs in watches that just don't need to have them, which is kind of a nice to have for someone that's really into horology, right? If you want to see the movement, see some decoration on it, that's something that you're just not going to get from some brands at even higher price points. So I think that's very nice for those that are into that. But the Aquaterra has also climbed in price as Omega has become more popular and collectors and have noticed and started, buying into the brand essentially. But you can potentially get an Aquaterra at about $1,500 to $2,000 US for an older one, right? 5 years old, not current generation, but please don't take it that way. But of course, as you go in terms of it being a little bit more modern, the prices go up a little bit, so you can adjust accordingly. But you can get a great watch at this price point. There's so many versions, dials, variations, sizes that Omega has produced the Aquaterra in. And for the most part, I think all of the options are pretty great. They even have some quartz variants that I wore 5 or 6 years ago on a trip through Europe, and it was an amazing experience. I think the Aquaterra, I'm wearing it, right? But I think the Aquaterra is a great watch to consider if you want to go anywhere and do anything. Now, next we have Longines. Longines is a brand that truly competed with Rolex decades and decades ago, right? I'm not talking the 80s, 90s. I'm talking the 1940s, the 1950s. Longines was a luxury brand at the pinnacle of watches, right? If any of you out there were around at this time, please leave that in the comments below. I would love to see it and hear it. But even just recently talking with someone on a plane, they remembered when they were younger, Longines was even in kind of the same wheelhouse or the same kind of playing field as Patek Philippe. Now today, of course, this is not the case. We're talking great variance in price points, but at the price point that Longines is currently producing watches, I think it's extremely difficult to beat, particularly here with the Longines Spirit watch in both a 37 millimeter as well as a 40 millimeter. I think it can be difficult to beat a quality watch at $2,400 retail, much less if you haggle or negotiate a price or buy it pre-owned than this watch. It's a watch that is made for that rugged, go anywhere, do anything, base movements. A little bit, there may be, on some of the models, they may have done a little bit extra to those movements than if it would have come straight out of the movement factory. Of course, they're going to regulate it, time it, things like that. But this watch and this line of watches is much like what Rolex did with the Oyster Perpetual or even the Datejust in a certain degree. Different sizes, different dials, different colors, different strap options, really more Datejust than Oyster Perpetual in recent times. But that's what's so cool about this is now Longines is delivering really what the consumers want, and they want choice, they want sizes, and they want to kind of make it their own, if you will. I think this is a great option if you love the watches. If any of you have experienced or own the Longines Spirit, I would love to see it and hear it in the comments below, because the one that we did get in at Del Rey Watch, I really thought was pretty great. And especially if you can get it on the lower end of that, the pricing spectrum, I think it's a phenomenal piece to put in your collection at this price point. Now, lastly, what list today is complete without a Tudor watch? Watch collectors have really started, I should say, really continuing to put Tudor watches into their collection, but not just the sportier watches, the ones with the bezels, the Black Bay Heritage, the divers, the chronographs, things like that. The Tudor Black Bay that's modeled after the Rolex Explorer 1, the Tudor Black Bay in 32 millimeters, 36 millimeters, and 41 millimeters is a really great choice for someone that wants a versatile watch. This watch does meet all the criteria. It's basic, it's simple, and I mean this in a good way. It's not overly complicated. For many, it's aesthetically pleasing. It still, to some, has that rugged feel because it's reminiscent of a Rolex Explorer 1, but at the same time, it can be put on a strap, or you can dress it up a little bit, especially in the smaller size, to make it dressier, right? To wear with a jacket or a suit or something like that. And at pre-owned, now you'll have to hunt, but pre-owned, depending on the size and the condition, the strap option you can have these maybe $1,800 US, but the retail is $3,000, so it still makes the list, and that's the retail for the 36mm version. It still makes the list. It has all the attention to detail and the care that Tudor does put in their watches that are at much higher price points, but it fits the bill in every other way, and I think it's a watch that many people currently own, love, and enjoy, but also it's recommendable if it fits your list, and also if it fits the styling that you're looking for, as well as it just fits nice on your wrist. That's really the case that you should buy this watch. And I think it's important to mention that at this price point and even higher, a lot of times the specs are going to be very comparable, right? We have to keep in mind that these are competing brands, these are competing products. A lot of them offer kind of the same thing. There's going to be some differences, some nuances, the way dials are made or the types of movements being used, sometimes in-house versus, modifying ATA movements or Solitas for that matter. But the specs at different ranges are a lot of the time going to be the same. So it really does come down to personal preference, barring some kind of manufacturing defect like we had a long time ago with the Tudor GMT when that came out. But unless there's something odd like that just happens in products, all of these watches that I mentioned are all recommended. They're all going to be similar in some way. So it really does come down to personal preference and styling. But this list has been my suggestions for 5 watches that you can go anywhere, do anything with in the year 2022 under $3,000 US. Guys, if you have any suggestions for your fellow watch collectors, please leave that in the comments below. Also, do not forget to check out delraywatch.com as well as my Instagram, TheRealJohnP. Thanks, guys. You've been chatting with John P.